for a good blast here, Jocasta.
Welcome to Hokey Religion, the Star Wars podcast. This episode, we're going to talk about the fact that Han Solo tickets released and there's nothing else. This is Tyler.
This is Michael.
Welcome to episode 71.
71. The podcast has reached the ripe old age of 71 years old. Each episode feels like a year.
It does.
By the time we get to the end, we've all learned things.
Have we?
We've learned what not to do. We've learned
Not that we're not doing it. We just learned we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always something new.
No, we were talking about this earlier, how the Solo stretch has felt like a slog as far as just Star Wars being exciting to me.
Yeah.
It's felt taxing. Not like there's any work involved in.
It's so hard to be a fan.
No, it's felt so, like, I don't know, stagnant.
I just want to tune out.
Maybe
I have been tuning out.
Right. Maybe that's because, I don't know, we like Rebels ended, not that we cared, but like Rebels ended, so there's like no TV shows. This movie's coming out, which doesn't need to be coming out, but we're gonna see it anyways.
It feels like the 90s.
There's been some new novels which have been great, but nothing like big like Thrawn or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it feels like the 90s again. We're back in the 90s where we didn't have anything. We just had the old stuff to look back and remember fondly. And
there's like a bunch of stuff coming.
A distant hope of.
Well, we know there's a ton of stuff coming, but it's like we have no idea.
Slightly better than the 90s.
We have no idea when it's going to be coming.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's this like nebulous thing in the future that we know probably will happen. Well, we do know it's going to.
I mean, yeah, we know there's movies. We know there's.
We don't know when.
Show.
We don't know what they're going to be.
Right.
We don't know if it's going to be bad or good or
right.
What. We're back in the 90s.
Yeah, and you know, as much as we've shit on Han Solo coming out because it's really easy and fun to do so, I think I'm finally excited to see it.
Have you accepted that it is
that it is what it is? That Woody Harrelson's in a Star Wars movie? I think that's the crux.
Is that what's throwing you off?
Is that the crux? It's Woody Harrelson.
It's so many things.
It's the Woody Harrelson Star Wars movie.
We've talked about this so much.
I think I've settled. I've accepted that it's happening soon, like 2 weeks, right?
Well, yeah, I've accepted that it's happening. It's just all the
some of the stuff
inside of it.
It's just constant teasers right now, right? So like every day there's a new 30-second teaser with
it's like you
one
go
new scene in it
to pick up what you think is a raspberry tart and you bite into it and it's a calzone.
So
that's what I feel like it is for me. Huh?
So either it's not what you expected, but it was good anyways?
Calzone? When you go to... Okay, maybe
it's still
I should say...
a good item.
Maybe I should say you go to drink a glass of orange juice and it's toothpaste instead. How about that? Is that any better?
Yeah, because
on the outside,
one of those you shouldn't have.
It's the promise of a nice new Star Wars movie with cool stuff, but then you bite into it and it's like Woody Harrelson's dick.
That's not what I asked for. No, I don't know. I liked so Ron Howard did it was a interview with it was Variety or somebody, I don't
Probably
even know if I wrote down who
EW
it was.
Or something.
And he described the movie in his words, which I don't think I've heard him
as guess what? I guessed this before I even read the note.
What?
That it's a heist. He described it as a heist movie. He did describe
it as a heist movie.
Yeah, which is exactly what we've been saying.
Right, but
every other heist movie.
But he was saying, you know, it's set in a different time. You know, the Empire rules everything at this point, and it's the time of total oppression. You know, of course, it focuses on this renegade young guy who's seeking freedom, trying to escape the oppression, and it's the defining adventure for this young guy. And it's about the lawless corner of the Empire, more or less. That's what lends the movie its vibe. It's kind of a contemporary cool in that it has a little bit of a 70s car chase movie and a gang heist flick while staying true to the galaxy that we understand and the tone of those movies. And he said it feels like a young Steve McQueen or James Dean or something in terms of the sort of feel of the action and pace.
Yeah. All right.
Which I kind of get. I get that, I guess.
What, that feel that they're going for?
At least that he was going for that feel. And I'm like, okay, that could actually be pretty cool. Like, as the director saying, like, this is the feel I think the movie has.
Oh.
And it's not so much space Fast and the Furious, which is what it's looked like for the most part to me. But the director
so the distinction between,
I don't know,
a movie that's just
so far he's just been excited about the movie because he's directing it and he's being paid to do so, and he's just been like, oh yeah, Han Solo all the time. But him like actually describing what it feels like, I was like, all right, I could get on board with that, and that can be cool.
Okay,
but those trailers still look like Fast and the Furious in space.
You're saying it's the distinction between a movie that only exists for action versus a movie that exists to tell a story about.
I mean, I know that was the point
something
of the movie
that leads to action. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. It's like the heist is the story that has action, whereas Fast and the Furious is just the action.
Story is the action.
Yeah,
I guess
the action is the story.
I don't know. I mean, that's been the whole point of the movie, is that obviously it's like we're getting way more of Chewie and Lando and other people that we've ever had. Like we're getting backstory of these people that usually aren't the forefront.
Yeah.
And I know that's the point, is the backstory for all these people, and like, you know, their whole, I guess, coming to terms with who they are, and type of thing.
Chopper Lobster Knuckles or whatever that guy's name.
That's his name.
What's that guy's name?
Therm Scissor Punch.
I was close.
Yep. Lobster Puncher Knuckles. Is that what you said?
What did I say? Chopper McLobster Knuckles.
That's exactly the same person. That's his uncle.
Okay.
And I mean, I know that's the point of the movie, is this backstories with all these people, but it did just seem like, oh shit, we have to come up with a story as to why we're telling anything about these people, which that's just how it felt. Which obviously he didn't really have a say in any of that in directing it.
You're saying they said, okay, we want to have these characters write a story around these characters. Like it was that kind of thing?
But it's Kasdan, so I don't feel like he would have done that, right?
Right. I think so.
And it might be just my prejudice to the fact that...
It's his son, by the way.
Just his son? I thought...
Did Lawrence help with it?
I thought
it was just his son.
It might be. And maybe it's just the prejudice of Chris and Phil having worked on it, and the expectation of what kind of movie that would have been.
It's definitely not that movie anymore.
Right.
Whatever
and
that was.
I think I've just in seeing the trailers, like that's what I was going into it with. Of like, all right, this is Space Jokes the movie with funny action scenes and constant winking at the camera. Like I think that's always, since I knew they were making it, that's always been how I felt the movie was going to be. Just like obvious fourth wall breaking moments of we're making jokes. Star Wars. And
I know you hate the Lego movie so much, but really the Lego movie and then the Lego Batman movie, which I guess they weren't really involved in that, but it was the same kind of feel. Right. They're really good.
I'm thinking more of like 21. I'm thinking of like more like 21 Jump Street.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm thinking that, but Star Wars, which is not what I don't think I ever want that kind of comedy for Star Wars.
I still think that if you're going to do that in Star Wars, Han Solo would be a good place to start with it.
Really?
If you didn't go the completely original character route.
He's probably the only one you could do that with.
We're kind of rehashing all of the stuff we talked about, but you're going back to...
Our next episode will be us talking about the fact that we saw the movie.
Can Star Wars ever be like self-deprecating and self-aware?
Right. And that's the conversation we've had where
many times, yeah.
Can it with the people that we know?
No, I'm saying even with original character. Let's say forget the core group. Even if you went with original characters, could you ever have self-aware Star Wars? I think probably not.
No,
probably not,
because it's this universe. Because then you are referencing to the fact that it's not real,
right? Whereas
which you can't do because this is an established history. Long time ago, galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
So this is like this all happened, and so you can never reference that something in Star Wars is not real.
I agree with that. So yeah, so having Phil
you can
and Chris
have humor within the universe, but you can't have humor about the universe.
Yeah.
Right.
and about tropes to do with it, and
right. And I think that's with
that.
Chris and Phil. I think that's
what
where
they operate in.
That's like heavy-handed jokes.
Yeah,
and it
not
sounded
heavy-handed, but like self-deprecating,
self-aware jokes.
Yeah.
And
from
breaking. From hearing supposedly the amount of improv they were doing, and it just seemed off the rails. And then the first trailer we get is like super action fight movie, and I think just that prejudice of what they were making.
Well,
was that
first trailer was after Ron came on board. They never released a trailer, right? Before Ron Howard came on.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So
I know, but I just the prejudice in my heart of what the movie was set. With, all right, Chris and Phil are making Star Wars haha. Here we go.
Star Wars ha-has.
Let's hold on. This is gonna be weird.
That's the Twilight movie.
But then getting Ron Howard, actually, I don't know, the guy who then came in and shook it all up and like reordered it and was like, this is not a movie that you made, and then made a movie out of it. And then him saying, what I was able to put together is a heist movie, but kind of a 70s vibe, Steve McQueen kind of, which the way he's talking about it reminds me of like Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah. I'm imagining for some reason, like this is his Enter the Fist, or what's that movie called?
Kung Pao?
Kung Pao, yeah.
Yeah. That would not...
That's what it seems
from
like,
Ron
right?
Howard?
It's just a bunch of found old footage, and he threw it together and then dubbed it.
And then dubbed over
it. And that's what we're getting.
Just all dubbed. Yeah. I don't know. Just I think it finally set in for me. Like, oh wait, Ron Howard is making this. It's not that movie anymore, even though I've been seeing everything as that movie, and it might actually be serious and okay.
Yeah.
After him finally like talking about it at length instead of just being like, it's great, I'm excited. Because sure, you're being paid a ton of money to be excited about this. I get that. So I think I finally like, all right, maybe this will be good.
What's the difference there between Ryan being all excited about it and him being paid just as much money? And this?
Because I trust Ryan to make a good movie.
Okay. I think I agree with that, yeah.
Because of the mess Solo has been through, I think everyone has had doubts about this movie at some point or another.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think it was always just like set in my heart that, all right, this is going to be kind of a joke. Which it might be. We'll know next time we record. But maybe it'll actually be cool, even though Woody Harrelson's in it.
I don't know.
Can that be done?
I think it'll be goofy.
Well,
I think
it's his Han, so it kind of has to be.
His parts,
a little bit.
I think would be goofy.
What, Woody Harrelson? Aren't they always?
I think we're gonna come out of this movie with a lot of bones to pick, like a lot of holes that we could poke.
Maybe,
but not being able to say it wasn't fun or it wasn't
right.
It wasn't enjoyable.
Yeah,
like we'll come out of it for sure saying,
I don't think that was a good. Bad movie.
That was good. I enjoyed it. I will probably see it again.
Yeah,
but here are all the problems with it.
Like all Star Wars fans. And I think what we've talked about many times before
is okay if we do it this time because this is the bad one.
This is the bad one. But what we've talked about before is it can be an okay movie, but it's gonna get real weird, and I'm gonna have a real problem with the relationships and how they tell that story of Han and Chewie.
Yeah,
that's the biggest one. That's the biggest problem. The biggest worry I have of did they do that justice?
Yeah.
The rest of it, I mean, Lando can kind of fall into place, however.
Yeah.
Right. And Donald Glover looks amazing as Lando, and I expect him to do a good job.
Yeah.
I don't really care about Kira or Beckett or Fig Newton. What's her name? Thandie Newton. Thandie Newton. Or the robot that's
we don't know
Lando.
anything about Thandie Newton's character, do we? Other than
so.
She's just part of the group.
Right. And then there's the L3.
Yeah, her robot. That's her robot, right?
I think it's Lando's, isn't it?
Is it Lando's
or
robot?
Is it hers? I don't remember.
I thought it was hers. Maybe not.
Yeah, so
yeah, old Lee, the
Leetbot. Leetbot at twitch.tv. So I think the only, like, it can be an okay movie, except for what they tell us about Han and Chewie really does matter to me.
It is Lando's droid. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the story of Han and Chewie is what really does matter out of this to me.
Yeah, of course.
Everything else is just fun.
Yeah.
I think, but like this is like we've had a long history of what this was, and you're now going to give us that history as hard fact. And that's going to be really disappointing for a lot of people.
If that's
probably no matter what they do, it's going to be really disappointing for a lot of people because it's Star Wars. Just
no, right? I mean,
I don't know.
When you say a lot of people, I'm not.
There are a lot of people disappointed no matter what you do in a Star Wars movie, just because a choice was made and it's not the one that they thought.
But I would say if you stick with the story we all know, the majority of people will be fine.
Probably.
If you don't, the majority of people would be upset. That's my guess.
Probably, yeah. So that's where I'm hung up. Otherwise, it can be a whatever movie other than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of the fact that next episode, when we record, we will have already seen it. And we discussed on the podcast, like, do you even think we're going to go opening night or opening weekend? Do we have any rush to see this? Yeah. Well, tickets released midnight on Star Wars Day. And we bought tickets for the first opening night
that day
show.
As soon as the tickets came out,
we're like, well, we have to see this, right? Yeah, we're both available opening night. Okay.
So we're seeing it opening night.
So we're seeing opening night at the first showing at our theater.
Next episode, we'll have a little tidbit of us, like our immediate reaction, and then
we'll talk about
digested reaction
at length, like we've already talked about it at length.
Great.
And then we can be done with it.
More. At least this time it'll be fueled by something and not just fueled by hate.
Premeditated hate.
Yeah. Just pure bias at this point.
It is.
I mean, related to that, Mark Hamill was doing an interview with the Washington Post and talked about, he let it slip basically that Anthony Daniels is in this movie. In Solo. He was talking about how Anthony Daniels is so happy that he's been in every Star Wars movie, and then he let it slip.
He starts like naming movies, the prequels. He's in Rogue One. He's in Solo. Oops.
Yeah.
Which I highly doubt that was a let it slip.
But I mean, either way, that is interesting to me because C-3PO is owned by Captain Antilles now, and on Alderaan. Right. Or I assume he's not on Alderaan. But no, the droids were gifted to Captain Antilles in Revenge of the Sith. Like that's
but
they became his droids basically.
Yeah, I guess.
So how is that gonna cross over with?
Right.
Like how did they show up?
And there's been rumors that Darth Vader is going to be in the movie as well.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I guess if they're on a Empire occupied planet, they have this.
Vader's going to show up at some point. They have this
Empire train.
Empire train.
What's the?
I guess it depends on what it is, what the cargo is.
Right.
I mean, none of the
if Vader shows up, there's nothing you can do about that, though. So I don't know how they would even attempt to get away from that.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about the scene in Empire where they all show up. Lando betrays them on Cloud City.
Right.
And Vader's there. I was thinking about, like, that kind of takes away at least the power in my mind that I've had over all this time for that scene. Because it almost, at least in the original trilogy, that's like the first time Han sees Darth Vader ever.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and comes face to face with him. And there's been other stuff in the comics and the books.
Wow.
But I'm just saying in the movie universe,
right,
or in that, what we've seen there, that's the first time Han sees Vader, and his immediate instinct is to pull out his gun and shoot
instant
him.
Badass.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to shoot him.
Right, which makes his character so much better. But then now if they show up face to face, and before, it's like, okay, well, now you know who he is and what he's capable of and all that. So, I don't know. It's a minor complaint.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
but that was the first thing I jumped to when you were telling me about that.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's been rumored or just theorized. This guy that they're doing this heist for, that guy with all the scars on his face, I can't remember his name. But the rumor or
Paul
theory,
is Paul Bettany's character.
yeah,
I can't remember
the
his
theory
name
is
now.
that it is a Force relic of some sort that they're stealing. Whether it be Jedi or Sith, I'm not sure.
So why would Paul Bettany's character,
right,
Dryden Voss,
yeah.
why would his character care?
Yeah, exactly. So there's been theories about either his alignment or whatever, and I think that he's having them steal some kind of like Sith artifact or something like that.
He's a crime lord,
right?
So it's not like he works for.
No. But like his alignment as far as Force goes, or what is his motive for whatever they're stealing.
Oh,
and then the item that they're stealing is rumored to be even more important and not just some expensive thing, but like an actual like a relic of some sort. It'll just end exactly like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I hope he's just a crime lord and not connected to the Force at any time.
Could be.
Any point.
I mean, he could just be like some kind of acolyte, some kind of Sith. I don't know, fan. But it'd be interesting if what they are stealing is Force related, and then that has larger implications. Better than them just stealing, a box of credits.
Yeah, right. I mean, I was reading about his character here. Michael Kenneth Williams. I mean, you remember us talking about him getting cut out of the movie completely?
Oh, right, yeah.
And I think he was one of the main sources behind the article that detailed like all the behind the scenes chaos and stuff.
Yes.
This was going to be his character originally, Dryden Voss.
Oh, really?
And it was going to be all motion capture stuff.
Okay.
But then when Phil and Chris got fired, I guess Williams wasn't available for reshoots, so they had to rewrite his character completely, basically.
Okay.
And then brought in Paul Bettany. That was pretty interesting.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I wonder if that means they rewrote his actual story too, or just the character.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it could be more interesting than I'm giving it credit.
What, the movie?
Yeah,
I'm sure it will be. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna come out of this probably because our expectations are so low.
Yeah, that it's actually gonna be fantastic, and we're gonna be like, "Holy shit,
we're gonna like it."
We were assholes, which we are, but I mean that's beside the point. That we end up seeing it, and it's like, wow, that was really good. I like that better than Rogue One, which is not hard for me.
Really? I still like Rogue One. I still really enjoy it. You don't like it? Is it too generic? What do you not like about it?
The characters. I don't care about anyone in that movie.
But they all died. That's my thing. You can't care about them. Like, they can't be so deep that they all die at the end.
Yeah, so you should care about that. And I never did. Like,
is it a problem? Is it a problem that you feel the most for K2 when he dies at the end than any of the other people?
Yeah. There's you feel more about this droid just because he has any personality, whereas everyone else is more of a robot than him because they're all just like the most bland, boring people.
I did not like what's her face. Forget her character's name. Jyn.
Yeah,
I did not like Jyn at all as a character.
I just thought everyone else was boring.
I didn't think the actress did a very good job with it. Like, it was super robotic and bland. Everyone else I thought was pretty cool. I liked Chirrut, Baze and Chirrut. I forget the actors' names now. I liked them. I sort of liked Captain, or what's his name?
Bodhi Rook?
No, the captain. The leader of the team. I'm forgetting every single person's name from this movie.
Now that since you asked me, I can't remember. I was just thinking about his name just a minute ago, and I had it. Now it's gone. Panaka.
Oh man, I just remembered his outfit.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of leather.
That tall hat, red leather. Some of my special leather.
Cassian,
Captain Cassian.
Yeah,
that's it. This is wonderful German news.
Yeah, I didn't care. I felt like there was no characterization or like buildup of relationships that was necessary for a film for everyone to then have died.
Yeah.
You're like, I was supposed to care about that, but I don't, because everything had to move so fast. Like there was no chance for you to care about them.
It was moving very fast. A lot of different planets.
Right. And even like
a lot of different locations.
And I think about the fact that it's supposed to be like a war movie, Band of Brothers type of thing. If you think of Band of Brothers or Saving Private Ryan, like even though
you're super invested in those characters.
Yeah, even though half the characters in Saving Private Ryan, you don't have a lot to go on with them. Like you really don't know much about them.
All you see is what they do.
You just see their interaction, and that's what makes you care about them because they care about each other.
Yeah.
Whereas all these people are just kind of thrown into the shit and they don't really know each other at any point. Do they get to know each other?
And they're all at each other's throats for the most of the movie.
Right, and then they die. And then they die. And it's not like, well, all right.
Yeah.
I guess they knew each other for 2 days. And
the movie was great at showing how much they sacrificed, I thought.
Yeah.
But you're right about
that. But the characters, there's no actual emotional attachment for me whatsoever. So it's like
the actual group was pretty dysfunctional.
Right. Yeah, there's just I have no emotional attachment. It's the extent of just Mon Mothma telling me that a bunch of Bothans died for this. I'm like, all right, cool, done.
No,
I know that's the other time.
Okay,
I know that's the other time. But I'm saying like,
please don't be that. Please
I'm saying her telling me that like a bunch of Bothans died. I'm like, oh, that's too bad. But then showing me that a bunch of Bothans died and it not being interesting, that's what I got. And I was like, well, I guess that's too bad, but you didn't really have to go in. I didn't need to go into detail about it.
I have to be somewhere. I'm sorry.
Lunch meeting. I'm sorry for the Bothans.
I'm really late. Look, we'll talk later. I'm really glad to see you, but I'm so sorry. I have to go.
Right. The stuff with Galen and the stuff with Vader and the stuff with the Empire, I thought was super cool.
Yeah.
But the stuff with the team, I'm like, who gives a shit? You guys don't matter. You don't. You don't even care about. You don't even matter to each other. Why should I care about you if you don't care about each other?
I guess that's true.
And that's always how I felt. I've watched that movie twice. That's it.
Really?
I've seen it twice. And I have there's no draw for me to ever watch it again. I just don't care. I've seen Moana more times than I've seen Rogue One. Just I was thinking of that because of what's his face playing the chicken?
Oh, Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just I don't know. So I don't want. I got way into Rogue One for no reason because I was saying that Han Solo might be more. I might be more of a fan of Han Solo of the Solo film than Rogue One.
I don't know. We'll get out of it next record after this, and then we'll all know.
And we'll either be excited assholes or disappointed assholes, but either way, we'll always be assholes. That's the Hokie religion guarantee.
I don't know about you, but my asshole's always excited.
Don't show me.
Not again.
Not like this. All right.
So
there's a Vader comic that you read that I haven't read much of.
Oh shoot! I forgot. I was gonna bring over my copy of the issue 1 of the DC Metal series that's going on, or that was going on. I guess it's done now. That's really good, by the way.
Really?
It's really, really good. It's the story that they set up in the first issue. I need to get the other issues. I haven't read any more, but the story they set up in the first issue is super interesting. Really? It makes me want so bad for there to be a good DC movie.
Oh,
because like these stories are so good in the comics.
Yeah.
And the characters are so good, and it's just this weird stuff. And no one can do anything with just the normal stuff in the movies. No. Anyway, I was going to bring that over, but yes, I am. That's a completely different thing.
Speaking of comics,
there is a Vader comic series that I'm reading right now that is very, very good. Apparently there's an arc coming up in this series called Fortress Vader. It's about how he got his castle on Mustafar. And I was going back through some of the books because I was trying to figure out where that started, the whole Mustafar thing. And it's an issue.
Oh, that's right.
5, Palpatine in issue 5, Palpatine sends Vader. So that's after he's gotten the lightsaber from that
Yeah, so he
Jedi.
had to chase down this one Jedi,
Right. So
steal his lightsaber, and
it,
then bleed his crystal, right?
yeah, that was the mission. And in the process of stealing the lightsaber, I think I've talked about it before, but in the process of stealing the saber, Vader basically wipes out an entire city.
Yeah.
It's this city on a dam, or it's built up against a dam, and in the fight, Vader basically drowns the entire city in order to kill this one Jedi.
Just to distract the Jedi, right? To kill him.
Yeah, right. To grab his saber. But yeah, in that after that has taken place and Vader has the saber, Palpatine sends Vader to Mustafar.
Mhm.
So it's not even like Vader's decision to go back there. It's Palpatine. Palpatine sends him there and says, at the core of the planet, there's a locus, he calls it, of dark side energy. And I want you to find the spot where you're most attuned to the dark side, and then take your crystal and corrupt it and bleed it.
Yeah.
Which was a really cool process that they show. Like he
doesn't he have like some vision?
Yeah. So going back through that and then thinking about like Vader's motivations that they're kind of exploring in this whole series. The whole theme seems to be about just showing how angry Vader is at everything and how much he's angry at his own failures, like with Padme being able to keep her alive. He's angry that he's being subjected to Palpatine's power. He feels like he's not in control of his own destiny. He's angry at Obi-Wan for him. He's angry at the Jedi for failing him.
Yeah.
All this stuff. He's just powered by pure anger. So with this crystal, he goes to. So he's powered by all this anger, but at the same time, he has this side of him that he's trying to suppress, this light side of all the things that he knows are true. Like, he, Obi-Wan tried to save him,
Yeah.
Padme did love him and care for him, she didn't betray him like she thought, in Revenge of the Sith and all this stuff. So, he's got these dueling sides that they show in the series. So he takes this crystal, he goes to corrupt it, and immediately the way they show it, it's like he covers it and goes to corrupt it and then kind of opens his eyes and says, "Oh no, what have I done?" And it immediately shows him going back to Palpatine, and Palpatine asks him, so have you completed your mission? And he ignites the saber and it's still green. And Palpatine is like, "Oh, so you've made your choice then." They have a fight. He kills Palpatine.
Nice.
He goes to Obi-Wan. He finds Obi-Wan, like in this time,
Nice.
like current Obi-Wan, takes off his helmet and basically asks Obi-Wan to kill him. And you're reading this like, what the heck is going on? And then you turn the page and you realize that was all a vision.
It was like the Force.
It was the light side of the Force, like accessing Vader's inner conflict, basically. So,
Nice.
and bringing that out of him in a way to try to turn him, I guess.
Wow.
It was a really cool, but then Vader, he like snaps back to reality and is like, "No, this is not how it's going to be." And then just pours all of this energy into the crystal. And he's like, it shows him having like flashbacks to all these moments like Padme and Obi-Wan and the younglings when he kills the younglings, all that stuff. And then eventually he overcomes it and like the mountain cracks because of all the power. So anyway, that spot I think is where his castle is going to be built.
Okay.
In this new arc, because that was like the focus for his.
Was there anything else
last
there
trial
already?
No.
Just
pure.
I've seen rumor that his castle was possibly built on top of a existing structure of some sort, whether it be Sith or not.
Okay.
I don't know. That's why I was asking.
Maybe it ends up being like that, but the way they kind of led up to it in the comics, they showed the cliff with that lava waterfall.
Oh yeah.
But there was nothing there. It was just like the mountain part of it. So I think that's where it's going to end up. And that's where he landed and bled his crystal and everything. So I think that's where it's going to end up being. But yeah, just that the whole point of the series so far has been to explore his anger at everything and just how much that fuels him to do, all of this crazy stuff that he's doing.
Right.
Especially I really like the thing about this tension between, I know I've talked about this before, but the tension between him and Palpatine, where he knows Palpatine was the one who taught him everything he knows now. Palpatine was the one who kind of led him through all of this hate against the Jedi and brought him out of the other side of that. Palpatine rescued him and like physically saved him.
Yeah.
So he knows there's a debt he owes to Palpatine, but at the same time, he cannot stand being controlled and being told what to do.
And Palpatine just treats him like a child constantly.
Yes. And yeah, Palpatine knows that and trolls him constantly. Yeah. And like he pushes that button all the time just to like tempt him and test him to see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And then like there's another arc a story arc where Vader he suspects Palpatine is trying to kill him on purpose.
Okay.
And come to find out it's something else, but there's like some doubt that's introduced
he was just planning a surprise birthday party.
That's all it was. He was just trying to do something nice.
Just one of those sitcom episodes where like, someone's trying to kill me, and it's really someone was just following them to find out the things they liked so they could plan a birthday party for them. Yeah.
Is that a normal thing? No. Does that happen a lot?
If you pay the right price.
Have you done this before?
If you want me to follow your family members to find out what things they like so you can plan a surprise party for them.
Fine, I'll stop stalking your mom. Jeez. But so in that same arc, they find Jocasta Nu, the librarian.
Oh yeah.
The Jedi librarian, who actually ends up being kind of a badass. Like she fights and stuff.
Nice.
She's got this whole like library that she's kind of stocked away, like a hidden.
Is her lightsaber hidden inside of a book?
She does that. No, but okay. She does at one point.
She opens a book and there's a hollow space in the middle, and her lightsaber's in there. That's just how I always pictured it happening.
Right. There is one point where she has like this ring of lightsabers, and she loads it like in a magazine and puts it in a gun. And what? She has like a lightsaber gun at one point.
Shooting lightsabers?
It's like shooting not the actual sabers, but like the energy from the saber. It like, extends
so you just stick a lightsaber in a gun and then use the lightsaber as the power source for shooting off beams.
And eventually it spends the lightsaber and just shoots it out, and then another one loads in. It was
like a clip of lightsabers.
Yeah. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
I have to see that.
But it was like
it sounds amazing.
Super powerful blasts that would go through walls and stuff. It was weird. Anyway, at the end of that, he finally catches her and finds that she has this whole list of force sensitive children that are in the galaxy that the Jedi knew about that we're eventually going to go grab. Palpatine wanted that list to bring them to him.
Right.
And come to find out, Palpatine wanted to do that because he wanted to create multiple Vaders.
Just all of these.
Just like all followers. Of these, followers, powerful, force-sensitive followers. And obviously that pissed Vader off to no end. So he ended up destroying the list and then lied to Palpatine about...
Which Palpatine didn't have known.
Right. And he had to have known when he sent Vader to go after her that she had this list and he was going to do that.
Right.
He had to have known all along. But just like that tension of Vader, he has to be in control, but he can't.
Yeah.
And he knows why he can't, but he still wants it.
Right.
It's just this. It's just
is that list he found? Is that because if I remember correctly, because I've not read the series, but I've kept track of it. There was a Jedi Academy-ish on Mon Cala, right?
Yeah, so that's later. That's the current comic. There was, I don't know exactly what's going on, but there's a Jedi advisor to the king on Mon Cala.
Yeah, like they're hiding in the like cities in the ocean.
Yeah, right? And he has some kind of following or group with him, and they're all in Jedi robes, but they all have blasters for some reason. They don't.
Okay.
At least they don't show lightsabers on them.
Interesting.
So I don't really know what that group is, but that's one of the things they're trying to find right now is find this advisor and kill him.
Okay.
So Mon Cala will surrender to the Empire.
Yeah, the only reason I knew about that was I saw something about Vader's being underwater and like his suit working underwater and him like creating like a force air bubble around himself to survive like in the depths of the ocean on Mon Cala to get to the city.
That was the most recent issue. That was really, really cool. Or the second to most recent.
Because his suit was like beeping and like telling him like the pressure, like it was like the pressure was too high.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So and at one point he creates the air bubble and then like a sea creature comes up and attacks him.
Okay.
And he just like stares the sea creature straight in the eyes, and the sea creature just kind of lets him go. Jeez. He just like warps his mind. It was pretty cool.
That's really cool.
So related to that real quick, this Jedi advisor that is on Mon Cala, he pulls up a list. Somehow he knows Vader is Skywalker. I'm not sure how, but he like identifies it right away. And he goes to pull up more information in like a holocron or something about Skywalker. Let me read you the list. I went and translated it. It was all in
Is this the one that has like the list of Jedi? Or no?
This is a list of topics.
Oh, topics.
I've translated other lists in the comics because I have way too much time on
It's
my
all
hands.
in Arabesh, right?
Yeah, Arabesh. Let me just read you this list, and you tell me what you think as I get towards the end of it.
Okay.
Because there's... So this is just a list of... This is like Star Wars Wikipedia, basically. He's looking at Sidious. That's the first thing. Order 66. Skywalker. Brackets Padawan. That's the one that he chooses. Maul. Tyrannus. Plagueis. Binks.
That's an obviously call out to the theory, right?
Amidala Sifo-Dyas Camino. So let me say it again.
That's an obviously not. That's an obvious nod to the Jar Jar theory, right?
Maul, Tyrannus, Plagueis, Binks. Notice the order. Maul, Tyrannus,
just building up,
Plagueis,
and then it's Jar Jar.
Binks.
That's definitely a nod to the.
This is in a Star Wars comic book.
Yeah, that's just a nod to the theory, to that stupid theory of Jar Jar being like the all-powerful.
I panicked
Sith.
when I saw. As I was translating the letters. Okay, B. All right. I. Okay. Who's this? B. I. N. Oh no.
oh no. Oh.
K. Oh no. S. No.
Then it's just going into like the other people he was involved with, which I don't know why Binks is important, other than the fact that he stumbled through a battle and kind of accidentally won it for them.
What did he do in Attack of the Clones in the Senate? He
ruined everything.
No, that's right. He introduced.
Well, yeah, he introduced the bill.
Basically brought Palpatine all his power.
Binks was used by Palpatine to make Palpatine in charge.
That's the
so.
Story.
I guess that's why he's important, is because he stumbled through being a senator for no reason.
So good for you, comic book writers.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That better not be.
That's really funny.
So anyway, I keep saying this over and over, but I mean it. It's a really good series. The
few that I've read are fantastic.
Oh, I was going to say too, in the old Vader series, real quick, before this one, another thing with this whole Vader wanting to be in control of his own destiny thing, he, at the end of, it's like 6 or something, it's the end of the first volume of the old series, Vader realizes for the first time that Luke is a Skywalker. He hires Boba Fett to track down this kid that Vader felt the Force so strong in at the Death Star, and then further on, because I think he meets up with him in the comics at some other point.
In the Star Wars series, he does.
Yeah, in that main series, but he hires Boba Fett to track this kid down and find out who he is. And Fett said, I can't find him; he got away, but I have his name, Skywalker, and. Immediately Vader just starts flashing back to Padme and, all this history and stuff, and gets super angry and is like, I will have him. I will have it all. He says something to that effect. Okay. But it's like he immediately he learns he has a son, and his first thought is, okay, he's going to help me take over the galaxy like I've always wanted.
Right.
Like that's what he's wanted all along. He's wanted out of the control of all these people, the Jedi, Palpatine, Obi-Wan.
Now I'm the daddy.
Daddy's home. 2.
Oh no.
What's the movie? Daddy Daycare. Is that what I'm thinking of?
There's
Daddy Daycare. Anyway, that's his first thought. That's the first thing he goes to is I need to. This guy can help me.
Yeah.
You know, I have a son. I have somebody that can join with me and help me do all this stuff. You know. Anyway.
Interesting.
I wrote like 500 words of notes. So that's the condensed version.
Yeah, so the next storyline is Fortress Vader and how he gets
building his castle on Mustafar, yeah.
And everything I referenced was how, you know, like something about Vader building his castle, which I'm assuming Vader's not building his own castle unless it turns into like an Elsa situation and he builds his castle by forcing lava up and freezing it into spires and mashing it until it turns into.
He hears Obi-Wan in his head. Let it go. Let it go.
Let go, Luke. Yeah, I imagine him like spinning around and throwing lava in the air and it like freezing in place and turning into bricks and him physically making his castle.
Yep, that's what happens.
Which, again, the castle is important enough that Snoke has a piece of it on his ring that he's wearing.
Does he?
Yeah, that black ring he has. It's a chunk of Vader's castle.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I have to read that.
Yeah, like gold ring with a little like black stone on it.
Yeah.
It's like a piece of Vader's castle.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, obviously that site is important, especially if Snoke was pushing Kylo to be Vader, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's just
interesting to have the backstory.
Vader's meditation point. It's like rich in the dark side of the Force, basically.
Super evil place, I assume.
Right. Didn't Luke have a Sith crystal on a necklace?
Supposedly, yeah. One of the various artifacts he found in his journey.
So it was like an ancient Sith crystal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I remember us talking
about
that.
Is.
Theorizing about that.
Well, like he had that compass that we didn't see. I mean, all this stuff is just like in the visual dictionary, you know.
Yeah.
He has like that Force compass thing and the crystal. And
where did that compass show up recently? Was that in a comic series?
I think yes, it was in the Star Wars series. I think.
Was it Star Wars or was it the Vader series? Where did I see that recently? That compass showed up recently as like a.
I remember it was Luke. Luke had it.
Was it Thrawn?
No,
Luke had it?
Was it the Thrawn comic? Is that what you're saying?
Shoot. I'd have to go back and see now.
I believe Luke had it and he was like looking at it and like showed it for the first time or whatever.
It showed up in some recent comic book, I think.
Yeah, it was like in the last couple months, I think.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, Luke had a bunch of different stuff, which I'm sure we'll find out about at some point through the comic book series, most likely. Seems the place that would be.
Right.
Yeah, so we're finding out where his castle, like, what his castle's about.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting.
Go read the series.
How it's allowed to be built.
It's good.
Palpatine. I don't know. Is Palpatine aware of it? I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
the castle.
If Palpatine, I'm assuming, because if Palpatine sent him to Mustafar in the first place, that he knows
he's allowed to have his own
room,
his clubhouse. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Like, why would Palpatine allow that isolation and show of his own power? Because he's always belittling him.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what that dynamic is of how he even gets the permission to have a castle. Because I don't see why Palpatine would allow that ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see Palpatine thinking that Vader needs a place to meditate.
You're always in my hair. Get your own place.
That was another thing I had in my notes. There are a couple scenes in some of these issues where it shows Vader meditating, and it's like what he sees in his mind when he's meditating, and it's just like this roiling sea of black and fire, and all this evil crap. Another cool thing too was it shows him floating in a lotus position, but his arm and then both his legs from the knee down are like kind of white, just kind of outlined like Like he's all black and red.
Okay.
And then
because he has his suit off.
Yeah, he has it because he's missing that. It's whether
so
his suit is off or not.
His phantom limbs.
Right. Yeah, it's like the force doesn't extend to those points.
Interesting.
It's just all robot parts. I thought that was a cool detail. But while he's meditating, it's all this black and red and evil and stuff. And there's these little light white butterflies flying around him.
Okay.
So it's like his light side is still in there.
It's like
it's
little
just kind of
pieces of light.
Yeah.
Trying to penetrate the churning darkness.
Right. And I think there have been 2 of those scenes so far. And in the second scene, it actually shows him reaching out with the blackness and like extinguishing the light slowly.
Pinching them.
Yeah. So it's like he's working as hard as he can to suppress all of that crap.
Yeah. But it's still there no matter what he does.
But it's still there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yep. So go read that series. I'll keep talking about it because it's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure once this series with the castle gets into swing, we'll be talking about it. Because I think that's a really cool story that we've never had.
It's really good.
I think Michael's
I'm done now. I'm done talking.
All right. Well, we've got nothing else except for to see Han Solo in 2 weeks.
All right.
2 weeks from, as of right now when we're recording, 2 weeks from 2 weeks and 2 days.
Huh?
2 weeks and 2 days.
Oh, as of today?
Today. As of us recording today.
Okay, well, it'll be good.
It will be
a movie.
Acceptable.
A motion picture.
Yeah, so next episode we're going to delay recording because we usually record earlier in the week. We'll delay recording till after we see it. So next episode,
28th.
Yes.
On the 28th, we'll have an episode out that talks
about it. So if you haven't seen it opening weekend, probably don't tune in. We'll mention something when the episode starts, obviously to warn you, but
to save you from the spoiler apocalypse. Oh no! Han Solo has the Millennium Falcon. Oh, spoiler alert!
Chewbacca's his friend. Lando's black. Not my Star Wars.
Can you believe there's probably going to be people like that? A black man in space? That's the line for me.
So Donald, he Glover hosted SNL. Did you see the skit of him as Lando with the Black People in Space Summit, and it was just the 4 people. Yeah, it was him and 3 other people. And they were like, let's take a moment to remember those of us that have died. And then just list off
it's like one person.
Yeah, they list off one person, the Jedi. My mind is blanking.
Mace Windu.
And he's like, and let's honor the people that we've lost. Mace Windu. Thank you. that's the end of honoring the black people that have died. Yeah, because it's true.
That was really good.
There's 4 black people in space.
Oh, I could just see people going into that movie like, oh, what? A black man? Not for me, sir.
Fancy black man?
People are so stupid.
Yeah, I'm sure it will happen. That black man has a white ship. Not in my space.
That's the line that cannot be crossed.
It's sad but true. So yeah, next episode we will have seen Solo.
It's sad but true.
And there's nothing else other than to say
we only have Solo to talk about
forever. No. If you like the show, go on iTunes, give it some various star things and words that are yours. You can find us on Twitter at Hokey_religion.
Give us words that aren't yours. Copy paste.
Steal some words.
We are not against.
Copy one of the other reviews.
That would be so good.
Just copy random other people's reviews and paste them as your own.
Yes. It's so easy.
It seems so offensive.
We are not against plagiarism here.
No one's ever going to know because who's paying attention?
Obviously, we want to hear from you in your own words, but if that's too hard,
just copy someone else's words.
Just copy somebody else's words. It's fine. We're not against plagiarism here on Hokey Religion.
Fantastic idea. So you can find us also on Twitter at Hokey_religion. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us anywhere, really.
Hey, here's an idea. Tell somebody about this show. Because We need people to tell other people that we're still doing this. We are still doing this.
Yeah, if you like the show, tell somebody else so that they'll like the show, and then
we have almost gotten to 100 episodes.
You'll get 10% of their joy, and the savings will be passed on to you. It's not a pyramid scheme, I swear. It's a triangle.
It's a pyramid scheme of joy.
Yes. We get happiness from your happiness, and you get extra happiness from the happiness of those around you, and it peaks.
We get 10% of all the happiness from the happiness that you dole out to other people.
Right. If you really, really enjoy the show but
ultimately you get to control how much happiness that you earn for yourself.
If you have too much happiness to share, you can go to patreon.com/HokeyReligion and support the show. As little as $2.50 will get you a sticker, which pretty much just pays for the sticker and mailing.
As little as $1 gets nothing for you, really, but it gives us $1.
Virtual hugs.
Yeah, we'll send you a GIF.
Touchel you virtually.
Touchel?
Touchel.
Okay.
Toucheling.
I don't know what that is. Is that a real thing?
I will touchel you later.
Oh, well, we're about to find out on another episode of Hokey Religion.
This has been episode 71. This is Tyler.
This is Michael.
Goodbye.
Hokey Religion is an ancient weapon. Weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side.